Welcome, everyone. It's so wonderful to see you all. Dr. Lakshmi, thank you for joining us again. This is our first talk of 2021, our first Green Shakti talk. So it's very exciting, and what better way to start the new year with a focus on mantra. So these talks are by donation. They are in honor of Green Shakti. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with Green Shakti is based in rural South India. It was founded by Sri Shakti Amanarayani. It's a nonprofit environmental program that grows and plants trees, manages 2 tons of waste each day with its zero waste management program, educates local school kids in all things about Mother Earth. It's really a collective that is committed to deepening the relationship between people and nature. So the first trees that were planted at Peetham in 1996. So imagine this area was entirely barren. There were high temperatures in the summer, and there was very little precipitation. And since that time, we have planted 1.8 million trees, and the area is now far more green, it's lush, and there is a good amount of rainfall. So today we want to bring to your attention 2 projects. One is the 5 Million Trees project. We are looking to plant 5 million trees native to South India, and they will be planted in and around Peetham in the Vellore region. And this is happening in partnership with Tamil Nadu Forestry Department and Tamil Nadu State Highways. And then the Sacred Groves project, which is a project that we are already familiar with, that we're planting at the Sri Narayani Holistic Center and in areas around Sripuram. This is a 16-acre cedar medicinal forest in South India, and with over 500 native trees, each one of them with medicinal purposes, from their flowers and bark and leaves and roots and wood. And all of this knowledge will be used for education and medicinal remedies. So you can donate at greenshakti.org, or if you are in the US, you can always donate through divineloveworldcharity.org, and we will make sure to put those links into the chat box. So it is my great pleasure with that to introduce Lakshmi Venkatesan. Dr. Lakshmi has a Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery from Madurai Medical College. She's a doctor of homeopathic medicine, and she has been certified in Singapore and the UK. She specializes in Varmam healing and mantra healing as taught privately by Sri Shakti Amma in 2018. She has been implementing Bach flower remedies, healing for emotional stress for the last 20 years. She's certified in block chi healing. She's a Reiki energy healer, and she has also taught at the Art of Living with Sri Ravi Shankar. And I will make sure that the link to her website, purnaholistichealing.com, is also placed in the chat. So with that lengthy introduction, Dr. Lakshmi, hi, welcome.
Yeah, good morning and good morning everyone here. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. I would like to clarify to all the viewers that I'm currently in the US, and here I'm not a doctor. So Lakshmi is fine, but the background you've given me is wonderful. Thank you, Sonia.
Thank you so much. So today is part two of our Mantra as Medicine series. So in our last session before the end of last year, Dr. Lakshmi introduced us to mantra, to meaning, to pronunciation. We discussed how mantra is intrinsic to religion in different forms and in different languages. We touched upon the purpose of mantras and their benefits, what happens to us when we chant mantra, where mantra comes from, how mantra connects us to source, how it nourishes us and touches our soul. And we also spoke a little bit about the chakra system. So today we go deeper and we explore the chakra system and the chakra mantra in more detail. So I will share the screen and we can go through the chakra mantra. This is our hashtag for the 5 Million Trees project. Sacred Groves, again, the greenshakti.org website. Dr. Lakshmi, start us off. This is a wonderful graphic where we talk about the meaning of the word mantra, and we discussed this a little bit in our first session. And it's wonderful to see this graphic because, again, talk about man and its relationship to the heart.
Thank you, Sonia. Yes, often man is equated to mind, man, mind. The explanation apart from this that Sri Shakti Amma Narayani gives is man is also the heart. Like in Tamil, this is a common daily usage. We say Manasu naranjirku. That means my heart feels full, but we say manas there. And it is not the mind, but it's the heart that's feeling full and contented. So here Amma's explaining that mantra is something from the heart, through the heart. Thra is through the heart. And what is the significance of that? When we say I, my heart, we are referring to our soul connection, our self. And when we offer the mantra, the sound, the vibration of the mantra connects us to the source that we are. And it's as simple as that. We
Great.
go in search of so many ways to bring us back to ourselves. Just chanting those sacred sounds. Some are generic and some are specific for each individual. Focusing on those itself can bring you to yourself, the connection to the source, yourself, and the universe together. Yes.
Beautifully put. And here we are. This is, we spoke about this a little bit in our first session. This is the chakra mantra. And we're really looking forward to go deeper to understand this and how it relates to each chakra. Maybe we start with the macro, talk a little bit about the general, and then we'll hone it down and go into detail.
Okay. And this mantra that's been given to the whole universe by Sri Shakti Amma Narayani is so profound, extremely profound. It's all comprehensive and yet very simple. If we look at, let's just say it, Om Nam Lam Mam Vam Sim Ram Vam Yam Yam Ham Shiva Om Swaha. So if can we go to the next slide?
Sure.
If we take the left side of it as the macrocosm, when we are combining Nam, Mam, Sim, Vam, Yam, these you see are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And what is their relevance? Na, Nam, Na is the Beej Mantra. Beej means seed. So mantras can be full words. Mantras can have meanings. There are mantras that don't have meaning. It's just the sound itself, that frequency itself does a whole lot. Like it doesn't matter, like the potential of the entirety is enclosed in the seed. These Beej mantras contain the entirety of its manifestation. It could be the entire universe or like a specific manifestation. To give an example, we can come to our body. We have trillions and trillions of cells in our body. And the body starts with a single cell from the union of the sperm and the ovum. That one fertilized cell, if that is the seed from which we all manifest, in the beginning, it is called a pluripotential stem cell. So that means we are familiar nowadays with stem cells in treatments and so many things. There's a lot of research on stem cells. The early stage of a fetus, the embryo, one cell, if it is separated, it can bring out a complete entire individual. That's how identical twins are born. So that is the seed of a totality. But later, when these cells divide and further divide, they are still stem cells, but they have differentiated into developing into one specific organ or an organ system or a specific entity in that system. So when that differentiation happens, if you take that stem cell, even though it's still a seed cell, it has a potential of the stem cell to manifest that thing. It can specialize in that aspect of that specific aspect of that totality. Like that, when we come down to these mantras, Na represents the beej of that specific, of that totality of Om. Na represents the earth element. We will touch on the Panchabhutas, the 5 elements with which the entire universe creation is composed of. Like everything we refer to as made of atoms and then become molecules, they are not visible, but when they coalesce together, when they become denser and group together in a certain way, it manifests the physical form. Like that, Na or Nam is the Beej Mantra of the earth element in the macrocosm. Mam is the Beej Mantra of the water element. Si is the Beej Mantra of the fire element. Bam is the Beej Mantra of the air element. And Yam is the ether or the whole entire space. So this side is all the macrocosm. And interestingly, we come to Siva. I'd just like to lightly touch upon the Siva. Siva is that one soul in entirety, in the universe, that one life, one soul is the Siva, or Shiva, many refer to us. And what is this Siva? Some give this as an explanation. Since we are talking of the Panchabhutas, it's relevant to touch upon it here. When you see Si is the fire, Va is the air. For life to begin, it is the combination of that heat and the air together that can manifest life. Siva. And also, when some of us would have joined Amma's Mahabhadrakali Yagam that happened a couple of months ago, and if we weren't allowed to chant those mantras because some mantras are very strong, our body may not be able to take that vibration energy. And Amma would have used various permutations of these 5 Beej mantras of the Panchabhutas. Nama Shivaya is a common usage of Namah Shivaya. They think it is God, but the crux or the meaning behind that is we are actually honoring that Panchabhuta, the 5 elements of the totality of the universe. And there are various combinations of these 5 elements that brings about this entire manifestation. And in that Yagam, there were different permutations and combinations of this Nama Shivaya Panchabhutas, and each has its own significance and depth, and these are learnt only from a guru. So having touched on the macrocosm,
Yes.
on that side, we look now at the Lam, Vam, Ram, Yam, Hum. What are these? We as a human, we see ourselves as a human body, but we are basically an energy body. And this energy body has manifested, condensed into this physical form, like the molecules have condensed into a physical manifestation. The energy body in us has manifested this physical form. And this energy body has hubs, centers that control, govern the physical as well as the metaphysical form of our existence. and the metaphysical, we can touch on it. We are not just the body, we are the thoughts, emotions, and beyond that, we talk of other aspects that are not the normal human, but there are some people have some gifts which is not explained by the current understanding of common man. Some are clairvoyant, clairaudient, sentient. There are different gifts people have, and those are from the metaphysical aspect of our existence. And these Nam, Vam, Ram, Yam, Ham are the Beej mantras for these energy centers, hubs in our energetic existence. And these are referred to as chakras. These are energy vortices that are spinning. They are dynamic, they are not static. And Lam is the Beej mantra of the Muladhara, the root chakra, and that is the microcosm representing the earth element. And Vam is the Beej mantra of the Sacral Chakra, the Swadhisthana, and that is the water element of the Panchabhuta in the microcosm. And Ram is the Beej mantra of Manipura or the solar plexus chakra, and that is the Beej mantra of the fire element of the Panchabhutas in the microcosm. And Yam is of the Beej mantra of Anahata, the heart center chakra, and is the Beej mantra of the air element in the microcosm. Hum is for the Vishuddhi or the throat chakra, and that is the Beej mantra of the ether or space in the microcosm. And Om covers the entirety, the totality of that. And there are 6, but when we talk of it, we usually refer to the 7 main chakras. We'll touch upon them as we go along. Yes, this graphics and these chakras, these energy hubs are energetically present along the vertebral column, along the spine. And from the hubs, it is good to understand that whenever there are hubs, there are things coming from there and going from there. And there is entering and exit of energies in that area. And that controls, manifests the dynamics of that region. And when we talk of that, it is these centers, do they have any relevance in our current system of medical? We are talking about health. Mantra is health. What is its relevance of these chakras to health? And do they have a relevance to our body that we can relate to? We can't see them. Most of us can't see them. But some who are healers, who are energetically trained, they can sense them. As they sweep their hand over, they can sense them. Those who are clairvoyant can actually see these. And we see they are in a color format. Is it some nice color that we choose? Interestingly, if you look at the colors starting from top down, it's the colors of the rainbow, the Vibgyor. And it is in the visual spectrum of the human visual spectrum range. Other animals may have other spectrums. And so it is the violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. And when we go from the base, the Muladhara is red in color. And these colors, we can touch upon them again as we go deeper. Maybe it's relevant now. If I'm going off, bring me back to the relevance of that, Sonia. Because
Sure.
we started with this as a hub, things exit and leave. And what exit these hubs and what enter these? These are energy hubs. So there are energies entering, energies leaving. And it is, again, relevant to get some understanding of these energy pathways in us, because this whole energy pathways are what are nourishing our physical existence, our organs, tissues, cells. And in the ancient healing systems, the methods of Siddha and Ayurveda, and other systems would have something similar corresponding. There are the Nadis. The Nadis are the energy pathways that are going to different organs. It is said like there are like 72,000 different Nadis, or like there are expressways, freeways, avenues, roads, streets, and it becomes fine-tuned to the smaller cell tissues, and it's bigger when it's going to the organ. These energy pathways are taking energy, bringing back feedback into the system, and the whole energy system is coordinating and governing all this for what? Why is all this happening? This whole structure is housing the soul, our source. And to keep the source, the soul in well-being, this whole physical realm of existence is manifested. And earth is called the karma bhumi, where we come to experience, learn, give, love. All these experiences help us in our evolution, our growth. And this physical body, all these energy structures are there coming to help the soul for its evolution, manifestation, growth. That's the purpose of this whole physical form that we are here in life. And in these nadis of the 72,000 or so, 3 are primary. Those who are into yoga, who have some idea of Ayurveda, Siddha, and the healing energy systems would have heard of the Ida, Pingala, and the Sushumna. These are energy pathways that some call them as one of them as sympathetic, the other is parasympathetic. I don't want to get into the details or the veracity of that, but these are, let's just look at them as energy pathways that bring inputs and take inputs to all the entire body. And in that, the Ida, Pingala, and the Sushumna are the 3 main core energy pathways. And they travel along interspersed, wind over along the chakra system, and these are along the spine, the vertebrae. And these go to the brain, where the whole collation of things, the inputs and the expressions from these, the commands come. So the relevance of these energy systems and the chakra system and the Ida, Pingala, Sushumna, the energy pathways, are very, very relevant to our physical health as we get some idea into the Ayurveda Siddha systems. One more concept in that to elaborate, we would have heard of those who are familiar with Ayurveda Siddha, we would have heard of Vata, Pitta, Kapha, the 3 doshas. And what is this Vata, Pitta, Kapha? Why are they like focusing on only these 3? And that brings us back to Panchabhutas, the source of creation. It is the ether, the space is everywhere. You cannot do without space anywhere. You don't, even in vacuum, there is, the space still exists. And it is all existent, and it is unchangeable. An earth element by itself is immobile, immovable, and by itself, it does not do anything. It is stationary, but it is the water, fire, and air that are constantly moving, that bring in the dynamics into the whole of existence. And what is the water, fire, and air? The water is the kapha element, and the fire is the pitta element, and the vata is the air element. So we are, the Siddha Ayurveda focus on these 3 aspects of the Panchabhutas because these are the dynamics that are constantly moving in a flux. And whenever there is a flux, there is a tendency to go into a state of imbalance. And what is the meaning of 3 doshas? They refer to these 3 as doshas, 3 doshas. Doshas by itself means defect. Like when you go to buy a gem, like say a diamond or very expensive, you look for any blemish inside that to see its purity. And the 3 is the 3 doshas are the 3 faults or the blemishes, they are called, because these can get into imbalance and bring about diseases or discomforts in our body. So the whole focus of these systems is to keep these vata, pitta, kapha, the air, fire, and water elements in balance. The seasons change, the Panchabhuta macrocosm can affect the microcosm. What we eat affects these Panchabhutas. Our thoughts, emotions affect the Panchabhutas. So the whole process is how to keep these Panchabhutas in the microcosm in balance, and that is the foundation for health.
That's great. That's a really helpful way to look at it. Shall we go, Dr. Lakshmi, to each individual's chakra?
Yes, just before going into each chakra again, the relevance of the chakras to the physical system.
Mm-hmm.
It has been observed. There is one interesting, several of them, but the one I'd like to bring in to mention is there's Dr. Candace Pert. She was a researcher and she was studying, and she was a part of the team that discovered the sites in our body for the opioid receptors. And in her she did a lot of research, and she was studying the receptors for endorphins, where these endorphins are manufactured in our body, where they are present, and all that. And in that process, she came across in a study the nerve pathways, neuropeptides, all these chemicals that are going around in our body structure. And she came across them concentrated, centered along certain aspects of the body, and she found them especially along the closer to the spine. And she had a diagram, and she herself describes at some point that a yogi, a spiritual person, came to her and said, with all your research and this, do you have anything related to the chakras? And he produced a picture of the chakras. And she pulled out her diagram of all the nerve complexes and the diagram she had drawn. And when she placed the chakras on this, they fitted exactly with these nerve plexuses, neural plexuses along the spinal cord. And so we have different plexuses in our body, many, and the main we know the solar plexus as one of them, the coccygeal plexus, sacral plexus, the solar plexus, and then the cardio region plexus. And then we have, so these plexuses along this part from the neck to this, along the whole vertebrae, have the aligned with the 5 chakras here. So, and we can when we look at the vertebral column, we look at the cervical, the thoracic, lumbar, sacral, coccygeal, the 5 regions. And these 5 regions have these complexes, nerve complexes, and the chakras and the energetic hub of our physical existence correspond to these regions, interestingly. And another aspect from the physical health point and thing is the endocrine system. The nervous system and endocrine system are very, very important for our overall balance and status to ourselves. And the endocrines, again, we go into the Muladhara. I'll just quickly mention them, then we can go into that.
Mm-hmm.
The Muladhara corresponds to the adrenals, the cortisols, there, and it is a flight or fight mode. So that is the aspect of the Muladhara root chakra. And the sacral chakra corresponds to the the gonads, the ovaries, testes, and the hormones produced in these, and they correspond to the function and the health of the sacral chakra, which relates to the creation, creativity, self-expression in those creation as creating a child, baby, human propagation, as well as creating, painting, arting, those creativities. That the endocrine corresponding to that chakra. And the Manipura chakra is associated with the pancreas and the insulin, which governs a whole lot of our digestive abilities and things. So the endocrine correlation to the chakras. The Anahata, the heart chakra, corresponds to thymus. Thymus is Endocrine, not so much talked about. It is a very, very prominent endocrine gland, very prominent during childhood when our immune system is developing. We talk of the white blood cells, and there are certain white blood cells called T white blood cells. They come to the thymus to get imprinted, educated to do their function. So it has more, maybe in future, more details about thymus will be discovered, but thymus is an important gland for our existence and our heart center, its function apart from the immune system. And the throat chakra, we are all familiar with the thyroid and the parathyroids behind that. They correspond to the throat chakra. And when we go to the Agnya, we are like coming into the brain area. The spine is finished. So the 5 chakras up here correspond to the Panchabhutas, and we are coming up higher to the higher evolution. The Agnya, the Root Chakra, it corresponds to the pituitary, which governs entirety. The whole body is governed by it's like the master gland, which is governed by the hypothalamus. So again, the endocrine glands. And then the Sahasrara corresponds to the pineal, and we are discovering more and more about the pineal. 30 years ago, there was just this knowledge, melatonin and all that. Then there is so much more into pineal as we are discovering more. The pineal is like, has a lot of spiritual significance in the metaphysical realm, but for the physical realm, it regulates our sleep and the cyclical circadian rhythm and several of these things. And this is to give an idea of the physical relevance of the chakras to health.
Thank you, Dr. Lakshmi. Why don't we delve in and just go one by one?
Yes.
So you started with the Muladhara, with the root chakra, Lam. Walk us through this.
And by now you've heard of the Muladhara, the root chakra, several times, and it is the base chakra. And this chakra refers to the earth element, as we mentioned earlier. And what is earth? Earth is, for us, it is the place we reside, we live in. How do we do that? It is the gravity that is keeping us here. It is pulling us and keeping us anchored here. So it's called the root chakra. Muladhara is called the root chakra. It is rooting us to where we exist. And by nature, the earth chakra is rooting us to our identity of who we are. I am. And this I am is like security and identification, like to our name, what I am. That is our entity. If you find these chakras, when they can be in imbalance, they can be very subdued or blocked, or they can be overexpressed. Both are possible in imbalances. And people, when it is subdued, they don't have an identity, or they don't correlate to a specific place. They cannot stay in one place. They're kind of nomadic, or they cannot stay in one job or one relation. They're constantly moving. So they are not rooted into something. So if you're looking as a healer or something, you can probably the Muladhara needs correction to bring into balance. And when we're talking of this Muladhara, if you see in the circle, it's a square. The square is the earth element, and there are 4 petals, like wings outside that. And these 4 petals, Lam is the Beej Mantra of Muladhara. And as we see, each petal has its own Beej Mantra. And as we go, each chakra has different number of petals, and each petal has its own Beej Mantra. It is possible that each Beej Mantra of each petal corresponds and regulates that energy flow from that region to wherever it is going. And those are finer details. And coming to talk of this, can I go back to a general understanding of the chakras again?
Sure.
Okay. We focus on mantras, and we are talking, obviously, it brings us to what is this place of worship we go to, and we go to temples. Where is the need for all that? I can just be by myself. I'm happy as an entity by a person. I can have a community. Why should I go to a place of worship? It is interesting to know that we saw mantra brings us, connects us to our soul, and that is aligning us with to ourselves. And the Muladhara, when it is balanced, aligns us with Mother Earth. And then as we are aligned with the whole universe, we are in total alignment. And these alignments shift, then we go through the various stresses in life, or when the stresses come in, these alignments can be lost either way. And when we go to places of worship, it is it's a place where a lot of mantras are chanted, so it is connecting us to our soul immediately. And also it is a place where we have so much fragrance, this incense and the flowers and so much of fragrance. And the fragrance is the aspect of the earth element. And when we are going to the place of worship, the fragrances help to balance the earth element, the earth chakra, the muladhara in us. Similarly, the water element, we take the titham, the holy water, or the prasad, it has the water element, and it is nourished with that cosmic energy that helps to bring in the balance of the Swadhisthana, the sacral chakra. And the fire, the arti, the lamp, the light element of that is helping to balance this chakra. And similarly, the air is charged, the touch form is the air. Each element has its chakra, the element Panchabhutas has its association with the senses. And then throat chakra is for the speech, the voice, communication, the sound, the chants you hear. So, and then we ring the bell. Usually in places of worship, when we go, we ring a bell, and there are bells there. And the bell is often that tone or that frequency that awakens or brings the balance into the Agnya or the Broad chakra. So a place of worship is incorporated with bringing the balance of the soul, the entire energy structure in our body. So physically we are nourished, spiritually we are nourished, our soul is nourished. So it brings us to a state of peace and calm, just being there. People say there is no explanation. I go to a temple and then I feel calm and quiet. I came with such a turbulent mind and now I feel peace. All this is happening at the energetic level for us to come into balance when we go to a place of worship, because it focuses on that. And there is one more thing, as we see the colors of the chakras, the deities in the temples, in places of worship, anywhere, you would have noticed they are decorated so beautifully and they have precious gems and jewelry. And you'll find some of them with the most expensive jewelry there. People wonder, why are people spending so much on these jewels for an idol there? And it again aligns with the chakras. Each gem has its color, and each color is again its frequency energizes each chakra. So when many people come to the temple, just with that one expensive or those expensive ornaments, everyone, thousands of people are getting their energy system balanced when they come in front of the deity, because it has captured those energy frequencies and it is radiating those to the people in front. The mantras do that, and these gems do that. All the rituals of the worship are doing all of that. Just why? Because for us to be in alignment with ourselves. So we are in balance, we are peaceful, we are calmful, we are happy, we are healthy, all those godly divine qualities.
Thank you for that. That was one of the most brilliant descriptions and that I have heard, and most holistic understanding of what it means when you go to a temple. So we're going to move on to the next chakra.
Yes. Swadhisthana, the Sacral Chakra, we saw that it is the base, the Muladhara is the base, the tip of the spine. They say it's closer. For some people, there can be slight variations. There are different authors give different positions for them, but basically around the tailbone area and just above the perineum region. Those are very technical terms. We don't have to go into that. And the Swadhisthana, again, sorry, the terms Mooladhara, Moola is root, Adharam is the foundation. And the foundation is where our structures can be built on. So Mooladhara is the Adharam, the foundation. Adharam is foundation in Tamil, in Sanskrit, all these languages, ancient languages. So the Mooladharam is the foundation on which the rest is built. And so Swadhisthana is Swa is self. This is a place of where I rule, where I'm finding, I've now identified myself, my security, all those things, my identity. Now I'm coming into what is it that I can express, my feelings, my desires, those things like are governed by Swadhisthana, the Sacral Chakra. And this is in the sacral region or just in the lower abdomen, below the navel area, the water element we saw. And this has 6 petals, and each of the 6 petals has its own Beej Mantra. And Vam is the Beej Mantra of the Sacral Chakra. And many of us are familiar with the Varuna Mantra. We say Om Vam Varuna Devaya. And Varuna is the divinity of the water element. And the water element here governs that creativity, expression, and the element for this is taste. So we have our taste as when the saliva is producing the water for it to dissolve, and only when it dissolves, its taste is manifested. And also water is an element that every other element becomes just that. But water is one element, as Amma beautifully describes. Whatever is put into the water becomes that. So it provides that opportunity of accepting everything there and manifesting those. And the Vam relates to, from the endocrine aspects, the gonads are sexual glands and related to creation and also creativity. Any creative aspect, people are very creative with their hands, creative with compositions, different ways of manifesting artistic expressions are all governed by the Sacral Chakra. And the color is the orange color. And the theme for this is I feel from this, emotional. A lot of emotions come. You know, there is another way of also expressing these chakras. They expressed as 7-year growth periods. So the first 7 years is all about self-identity, security, and rooting. So that is the focus. Even though others are there, this is a predominant focus in this age group. And the next 7 years is when there's exploration of further into the sexuality that comes in that period of our life. And as we advance, we evolve into other chakras as they are evolving and further fine-tuning.
Manipura.
Manipura is the solar plexus. It's just above the navel area, the solar plexus region. And the Beej Mantra for this is Ram. And it has the 10 petals with its own Beej Mantra. And you see inside is a triangle. This is the symbol of the fire element. And if we go back to the Swadhisthana, we see a crescent shape. The crescent moon is if you see below the bar, there is a crescent moon inside the circle. So that crescent is the symbol of the water element. The triangle in the Manipura represents the fire element. And the color is yellow, golden. And this is the empowered state. I can do this, I can do that. I can take on anything. People are not inhibited by that. When they are in imbalance, there is lack of self-confidence. Here it's in balance, it's very confident doing it, what it can. And this it relates to the digestive power, and it relates to the all digestive imbalances or any health relation to digestion. Manipura is the chakra that needs to come into balance. Anahata is the heart chakra, and it's in the center of the chest. And Yam is the Beej Mantra of the heart chakra. And we see this is a 6 star, a hexagon shape. Some refer to it as hexagon or the 6 pointed star. And it has 12 Beej petals, each with its own Beej Mantra. And it represents the air element, and air is for touch. Normally with love, we hug people, we express love by touching, holding hands. It is the chakra of that love. And this love is different from the sacral chakra love, where that is desire, passion, the sexuality love. And that is, many people relate love to that sexuality, but the love in the heart chakra is that all encompassing that love. And it has green as well as pink. Lot of healers come from this space, the heart chakra. Lot of healing happens. This is where the individual is in harmony with himself or self, and in harmony with others. So a lot of us can relate to our relationship stresses, and we need a lot of balancing in our heart chakra. And the Vishuddhi is the throat chakra, and this has 16 petals. The Beej Mantra is Hum, with a triangle and a circle inside, and all the 16 have their Beej Mantras. Yes, there is an aspect I wanted to mention. If you look at these Beej Mantras of the petals and all these of each chakra, they are the alphabets of the Sanskrit language. And it is said that many times it says Sanskrit is the language of the gods. So it makes me wonder, the whole language is only expression is through Beej mantras. So there is only the beeches that make the whole language. So only the divine and the best and the universal things are expressed in that language. So maybe that's why it's referred to as the Deva Bhasha. Deva is the divine, Bhasha is language. Sanskrit is often called the Deva Bhasha. And if you look at the energy body from the chakras to the petals and all the energy pathways, all the beejas are the alphabets of the Deva Bhasha, Sanskrit. And the blue color of Vishuddhi, this is a place of expression. I speak. These are in balance and well developed. These are excellent communicators, actors, theatrical people. The communication skill is very evolved. And if we look along the 7-8 period, we've come to the 5th, 7th, 35. That period onwards is the Vishuddhi. Shuddhi is purity. So it is the purity of truth, purity of speech, purity of expression when it is in balance. And if people in imbalance, it could be people who don't want to face the truth, or who lie, or those kind of imbalances can come, or people who abuse their communicative skills for other things. So there is the balanced state, there is the well overdeveloped state, and then there is the underdeveloped state. When it's overdeveloped, each chakra itself has many, many, many more subtle energies and gifts or manifestations in them. So we can fine tune, hone into each of these chakras, and some have greater gifts of each of these chakras. So then we can go into, tap into the gifts of the metaphysical realm. But for a physical existence that we can relate to is communication, speech, the element of sound. This is the space. We've come to the space. The sound is the element for the space. Speech, and the blue color And again, when we're looking at gems and therapy, we are looking at blue gems, blue colored gems, red colored gems. So all those gems help with each of these, balancing each of these chakras and their related colors. And the organ and region is related to thyroid, parathyroid, and the region, it governs the heart, lung related regions. So anyone with heart, lung related conditions need more work, balance on the heart chakra.
Let's move on to the third eye.
Normally, most people write it as AJNA, Ajna, but the actual pronunciation I've come across, and in languages we speak, I'm familiar with, it's Agnya. And maybe Agnya is difficult to pronounce and they have made it Ajna. So I just requested. Thanks to Natalie for all these awesome visuals, yes, for putting it all together and fine tuning all the requests, everything. So I would prefer is Agnya. Agnya is a space command by itself, a commanding space. This is the third eye, the brow center. It is where I see, meaning you can see through a lot of things. So you can solve problems, you can see through things, your perception, your awareness is developed in this state. You're going from the Panchabhuta state into a more refined mental state, the visual state, clairvoyance, all that. The color is indigo. Again, when we talk of the Panchabhutas, when we say a concept to understand, clarify, if Smuladhara is earth element, is earth only by itself, is water only by itself, is fire only by itself? And Amma Shri Shakti Amma Narayani beautifully explains that every element is predominant, but in that is contained the other four elements. It is not just 100% this. We don't know the percentage. It could be 90%, even 99% this, but the other elements are still present in that. Like if there is a fire, the fire needs the air to burn. And if there is air, water is contained in the air. And the fire is burning on what? There is a substratum, the earth element for it to sustain it. And it is all held in the space. You cannot miss out space in anything. So whenever we are talking of the Panchabhutas, it is not like one isolated, it has the other elements in a minor level. It's all present in each and every one of them. So when we're coming to the Agnya, even though we have discussed the Panchabhutas up to the 5 chakras to Vishuddhi, this has the subtle form of the Panchabhutas. The mind is a subtle form of our existence. So even though we are going to the mind form, thought form there, it's not like the Panchabhutas are not there. They exist in that subtle form. And Om is the Panchabhuta, the Beej Mantra of the Agnya Chakra, the third eye chakra. And it has 2 petals and often referred to like 2-winged circle. And Hum is one of the petal, Beej Mantra. The other one is Sham. And it occurred to me, a beautiful thought came up, and I'm just expressing my take on that. This word on the right side, which is like this, is Sham. And Sham is for the word Shama. Shama means forgiveness. And maybe it is when the third eye gives us that awareness that we can see through everything, the right, wrong, good, bad, everything. We have that capacity to understand, but it is that forgiveness, even if it is right or whatever bad, that element of the Kshama, the forgiveness, that can transcend us and take us to the Sahasrara, which is the divine element. And I see this awareness gives us a lot of ability that when the third eye is open, we say there is when all the other chakras are developed in alignment, it brings in that wisdom. It's all coming together in that space of evolution. You understand, it's aligned. I know. What I feel, I know. What I can do, I know. My love stand, I know where I am in harmony. What I express, I'm in And then this total awareness of all these glands and that possibility of that accepting all that and the state of forgiveness, it gets us to a state of another level of evolution.
So let's go to our final destination today, the divine destination.
Sahasrara. Sahasrara it means 1,000. So in all those others, we saw the petals with the beech. This has like 1,000 petals. So multiple petals and each petal with its beech sounds. It is where we transcend beyond the human level into the spiritual level. So we are in alignment with the universe. So we see the totality of the universe. We become aligned with the mastership, like we've grown, learned, and then we have become a master. When the Sahasrara is fully opened, evolved, and in balance, we can command everything. We can go into each chakra, play around. We are in charge of the whole system. And if there is imbalance or anything comes, we know how to handle it, bring it in. We've reached a state of the mastery, alignment with the universe and with ourselves. In that totality of alignment, universe, the self, and the earth. So that is complete alignment. And it is like, I know, I've seen it all, I understand everything from that state of that mastery and mastership. The color is violet, white, so the full range of the Vid Cure is here. The Beej Mantra here is also Om. Some put both Oms as Om. Some differentiate the Vishuddhi as Om and this as Om. There can be further inner, deeper significances in that, in the metaphysical aspect. We won't go into that if there is any such things, but this is the totality. And it says it's 1,000 petals and it's a downturned lotus. When it's fully opened and it's fully there, and the pineal gland is the endocrine gland that is related to that. And for the Agnya, of course, the pituitary, the hypothalamus, those control the whole body. This governs our whole being.
So here is just a review.
I am, I feel, I can, I love, I speak, I see, I know. And we ourselves can gauge what is it, the stress we are going through, or when we are in a relationship or we are with family members, friends, we can understand, oh, what is it that I'm not in balance of? Am I anchored or I'm like flitting constantly? Then my Muladhara needs more work. There are so many ways to balance these chakras, and the simplest, best that Amma has given us now is that mantra. If we chant that mantra, we don't even need to go into the specifics of each chakra because it covers from the macrocosm to the microcosm to a whole chakra balancing. So it balances the chakras, aligns us. If we just chant this every day, and they say it's enough if you chant up to 10 to 12 minutes. And if that's too much, even few minutes less is enough. But a simple way of balancing our chakras is just the mantra we have, the Panchabhuta mantra.
So we have a few minutes left. Maybe you can talk a little bit about this slide and how it relates to Western medicine, and then we can open it up for a few minutes for questions.
Thank you, Sonia. Yes, and when I look at these medical symbols, many of us are familiar with the two serpents twining, and some medical schools use that, and some of the medical systems use the single rod with a single snake. And when we go into temples and villages and other places, this intertwined snake along a rod is a very common thing. And ancient, thousands of years ago, right from the villagers level, you'll find this in an altar and you'll find it in any place of worship, just the snake and the intertwining snakes. And what is its relevance? To me, I wonder, is it just accident? Of course, they say this is the Greek gods, symbols, Hermes and the yes. One of them is for healing, one of them is merchant, but it doesn't come by accident. They are both for healing, and it represents to me, as I see it from my perspective, it has inherently incorporated the whole energy system in us, the Ida Pingala Sushumna along the vertebral column, and the two wings to me appears like the Agnya with the two winged petals. So it is totally about the energy system in us that is governing our health. And it is so relevant to, was it an accident? There are people say this is a wrong symbol, this is a right symbol. Without going into those technicalities, these have been in use for thousands of years. And these symbols have been used in the system for few centuries. So this wisdom is an ancient wisdom. It is not something new. And millenniums ago, these were known and practiced in a very simplistic way, or in a more understanding way of their times. They were probably more energetically perceptive, but it is very relevant to our health, yes.
Thank you, Dr. Lakshmi. That was truly one of the most informative, articulate, and detailed views into the chakra system and corresponding beej sounds. And it feels like a celebration to think that we can continue to balance these chakras with this mantra that we can chant daily. And I want to make sure that we have a link to the SoundCloud where one can again hear Dr. Lakshmi chanting this mantra, which is really extraordinary to listen to. I'd like to take a few minutes and see if there are any questions, if anyone has anything burning that they would like to ask Dr. Lakshmi, and we can take this time to address it. One question that immediately is about regulating the nervous system and how chanting this mantra, how it has effects on the nervous system.
The nervous system has the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. And the sympathetic is the one, the adrenaline driven, it's all action packed, it's all helping you to cope with stress. And the parasympathetic is that brings you the calm, the peace, the quiet, and you need a balance of both in life. And these mantras, as we saw, the Nam Lam is aligning the earth element with the macrocosm, microcosm. And our whole body is a manifestation of the Panchabhutas. These molecules, structures, organs, each of them by themselves are governed by the Panchabhutas. Some have more of the water element, some like the bone, the dense things are more the earth element, some are the air elements. So each organ system, tissue, cells are governed by these Panchabhutas. It is the basis, the foundation for the physical structures of our body. So balance, chanting these mantras work in a deep way. Their frequency goes in to bring balance into each of these chakras. And if each of these chakras is the hub that is sending and receiving energies to all the organs, tissue, cells, then they govern it. They send the energy needed to balance it. They bring back the communication of imbalance, and they send whatever is needed to balance it. So we don't need to understand it. Like we don't need to understand what is digestion for our food to be digested and to benefit from the assimilation of our food and the nourishment. So the mantras do their work. It's enough if we just chant it. And when we chant aloud, we are also bringing the balance into our external environment. And on that note, if a mantra has been given to you specifically by your spiritual master, it is your special mantra. That is like a seed growing in you. You don't keep unearthing it, exposing it. So you don't verbally say that mantra, you say it silently in your mind. But these mantra, like the Panchabhuta mantra, Om Nam Lam, the one we are doing, these can be chanted aloud. It is to bring the balance within you and outside you of the Panchabhutas, which is the substratum of existence in the macrocosm and the microcosm.
We have one question about the 7-year periods that you spoke about and how they relate to the chakras. So with the 7 chakras, it goes to 49 years. What happens afterwards in the process?
The cycle restarts. You come to again your identity. Maybe in the early 50s, you will come back to who am I, what is my identity? So there can be an identity crisis, that seeking of what is my roots. People go back to seeking their roots, where they come from. Some really, even it doesn't have to wait till 50. It depends on the individual where they come from. They could be seeking their roots even earlier on, but the whole cycle gets repeated. And it is not just that when it is focusing only on the I am aspect, the others are not dormant. No, they are evolving, but this is the predominant aspect.
Can you clarify for us, Dr. Lakshmi, the Beej Mantra of the petals and the relevance of the Beej Mantra and the background of the petals? How did these petals come about?
To me, my personal feeling, there are many, this is a vast topic, and sorry, it's taken a bit longer. Just like mantra, chakras is a huge topic, and I'm sharing again only this much of what I know. It's a very huge topic. And I remember when I was studying Varmam, it's a huge topic. Varmam, it's not like I was studying, it's an ongoing, everything is an ongoing learning further. Varmam Master said energetically, from the thyroid, there are 16 different pathways of energy going out to nourish different organs in the chest, lungs, heart, all that. Because Varmam, again, is balancing the Nadi flows, the energy pathway flows. And in which case, every petal, it corresponds to different petals. Each one is an energy outlet, a pathway, a roadway going from the hub to these different organs. So they're taking the energy from the chakra to nourish those organs, and the organs are sending their inputs. It's a biofeedback that comes in energetically, energy feedback. It comes into that hub of that chakra, and the necessary changes, neuropeptides, whatever is needed, happens at the physical level. So these petals, this is at the physical level. Do they have metaphysical aspects to them? I'm sure definitely they do. And there are a lot of depths to them. For us, it represents that these petals represent energies that govern the well-being of our body.
Thank you, Dr. Lakshmi. This was an incredible talk. And although it's a vast topic, I'm astounded at how much you were able to cover and impart to us today. The good news is that we continue with Dr. Lakshmi next month and for many more months to come. So please stay tuned for our next series of talks. Again, these talks are by donation. So if you feel moved, please go to the greenshakti.org website or to divineloveworldcharity.org and help us raise money to plant 5 million trees and sacred groves. So thank you, Dr. Lakshmi, so much.
Thank you, Sonia. Sorry, it's extended. Can I take just a couple of minutes to talk on these trees?
Sure.
We are talking on Panchabhutas and the relevance of Panchabhutas to our life and the chakras. The trees, what are they? These herbs and medicines, what are they? They are derived from Panchabhutas. They are out there in the sun, light, air, growing from the earth. And each has its own characteristic of absorbing certain aspects of the Panchabhutas more. So the medicines that are prepared, again, which are prepared to balance the Vata, Pitta, Kapha. So someone who has more of Vata, Vayu will need to balance that, which brings down the air and enhances whatever is in excess. So these trees and plants and medicines are total nature's way of contributing the Panchabhutas to bring balance into our system. And it's a very beautifully studied, wonderful system. And that is, again, a very huge topic.
Thank you, Dr. Lakshmi. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you to Green Shakti. I'm looking forward to planting some trees and to February when we continue on more mantra topics with Dr. Lakshmi. Have a beautiful weekend. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you, Natalie, for the wonderful graphics. And thank you, everyone. Happy, wonderful New Year too.
Happy, wonderful New Year. Thank you.
Thank you.